All right, guys. Let's go ahead and read the objectives. Haven?
We'll go over es6 classes and inheritance.
Yeah, so we're going to go over classes again with es6 and inheritance. So extending one class extends another class. So let's say you have a person class, right? Or a Pokemon class, and then you have a Pikachu class. And the Pikachu class extends a Pokemon class. So all the functions and properties in the Pokemon class is inherited from Pikachu. So in the Pokemon class, if there's a speak function, then the Pikachu class that extends Pokemon would have the speech function inside of it. So we'll go over that whole process. We'll have an activity on this. And number 2, Nick.
Students will get an introduction into React.
Yeah, so we're going to go over React and why we need it and the alternatives, Angular, Ember, Knockout, all of them. Well, we're not going to go over those, but just go over the landscape a little bit. So what we're going to be doing for the next few weeks is React, right? That's number 1 priority. Then React Native, right? So mobile applications. JWT tokens for the new way of doing authentication. Because with JWT tokens, your mobile app and your web app can have the same login. So the person can use the same login to log into your mobile app and the website and see the same data. And you make the API, you write the API once, the mobile app uses the API, the website uses the API, right? So we're gonna learn all of that.
The Express API.
The Express API, exactly. Then we're gonna go into testing, right? So test-driven development. So that's like a big part of the Valley. So a lot of companies won't even want to talk to you unless you have tests written for your applications. So they'll go onto your GitHub and then they'll check your repos and they'll see, why don't you have any tests on there, right? Well, you guys will have some tests on there. You'll have a few repos with tests in there. Is it hard to do? No, it's not. You just have to know how to do it, right? We've done much harder things. Recursion is significantly harder. Prototype inheritance is significantly harder than writing tests. A lot of the stuff that we've done is much more difficult. I did get caught up. I've been doing a lot of stuff lately. I did get caught up and I uploaded all the videos that I was behind on. Let me refresh this, see. It should have all posted by now. Yep, so this was Saturday. That was the day before Thursday, because I think Thursday was work on the Mongo homework, I believe. And then over here, this is the 27th, so this is all caught up, I believe, right here. All right, so let's do the classes. So let's build a class right now. I'll make one file. So this way we don't need to use import and export. So I hope without having to use import and export, many more people can run this on their computers. If not, it's not the biggest deal. So I'm gonna make this file, name it, let's see, person dancer. All right, we'll have a person, and then we'll extend person, and we'll make a dancer class. So this will be a person class. And a person's going to have a name. I'm going to say NAM. And a person's also going to, what else is a person going to have, Derek? An age, right? I'm going to say height. So that way, you know, no one feels compelled to give their age. And I'm actually going to do na and t here so you know exactly where the arguments are going. So this is like a typical constructor function. This is a typical constructor function. So if we wrote something like this, if I was rewriting, this is es6, not es. This is classic JavaScript would be function person So this is classic JavaScript, and this is ES6 right here. Not terribly different, but the main difference is that this is a lot more recognizable to developers from Java, C, C#, from other places. And now we'll have two functions here. We'll have a greeting function. And I want to console log my name. How would I console log my name? Console.log this dot. Excellent. So we'll just say, we'll use some ES6 syntax over here. Hi, my name is. Right, so right here, what does this $sign represent for us, Rob's row? Well, we could use this anywhere. This $sign right here. The alternative, this is the ES6 way. How about you guys tell me the ES5 way? Plus sign, excellent. Good, very good. And then plus sign right here. So this is the ES5 way, this is the ES6 way right here. Although this isn't that big of a deal right here, throw in some more variables, some more words in between them, it becomes terrifying. So I'll just do a period right here, and over here just a period like this. So all of a sudden you can see the difference, how this is a lot cleaner than this way right here. Questions on the ES5 way versus the ES6 way? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete the stuff on the bottom. I'm not going to use any import-export features for the time being. And if I was going to write this greeting function, I'm going to go ahead and comment out this. If I was going to write this greeting function in the ES5 way, let's go to Aaron's side of the room. What would I write if I was going to rewrite this greeting function? Function greet. You're right. It would be very similar to that. But over here, instead of the word function, I would do something dot greeting. Do you guys see anyone? Anyone in the room? What's the first letter I'm going to type? Person, excellent. Dot prototype. Dot greeting, right? So this is the ES5 way on the top, right here, and this is the ES6 way. ES6 way is better. It's better because you don't have to deal with the prototype. A lot of developers, they see the word prototype, they puke, right? They just they don't know what the hell this is. They don't learn this in school, and they don't want to read any more books, right? Whereas JavaScript developers are very used to this way. And so that's great. You guys, we did go over how to do inheritance with the prototype, which very few people do understand, which is great. But the new way is significantly easier and better. What was I about to say? So if I wanted to make a person object right here with ES5, if I wanted to make a new person object, Maricel, Sandy, Nick, what would I do? Var p new, excellent. New person, and then go ahead, fill it in. Uh, 79 inches. He's tall, right? And so if I wanted to do this, if I wanted to make a new person object over here for ES6, how would I do it, Aaron's row? Aaron's side of the room. Yep, same exact thing. I don't know, you're tall. Something like that. So you use it the same exact way. We create objects with it. So if I wanted to, let's say es5, I wanted to console log the height of Will Ferrell. What would I do? Console log p.height. Excellent. This is how I console log the person's height. And over here, it's going to be the same deal. It's exactly the same thing. The only difference here is the word class instead of function. And then we put these properties inside of a constructor function. And all the functions on the prototype go inside the class right here. You go ahead, Fernando.
If you're doing the console log above the var p equals new person, would it be console log this dot height?
So if I wanted to do, so you're saying over here? Yeah, it shouldn't work. Yeah, it should throw no height property on undefined because p is going to be undefined.
So, but you put this dot height if you're above the p variable.
Well, I won't be able to do this dot height because over here, this right here is not the person object, right? Inside here, this is the person object, right here. Over here, this is the person object.
So I'd have to be on line 5 before the curly brackets.
Yeah, you'd have to be inside the person function or inside this function right here to be in the person object, right? With the word this. Right. No problem. And then I'm using var here, but I shouldn't. Right? What should I be using? Let. Good job. Yes.
For the prototype, should it be greeting equals function? Person that prototype that
Well, yeah, I might have messed that up. Thank you. Cool. And so this is how I get the person's height. How do I execute the greeting function from P? Derek Juthica. Greeting, just like that, because it's console logging inside here, so we don't need to do anything, but good job. And then over here, it's the same deal down here. If I want to call the greeting function using the class person, it's the same deal, p.greeting. Yeah, go ahead.
So var and let are both declarations, right?
Yeah, to declare variables. Var and let are fine, but the thing about let is that there is no hoisting. So if I try to console log p here, it's going to throw an error. It doesn't exist above it. If I try to use p, if I use a let inside a for loop, it only exists inside the for loop, not outside the for loop. Whereas with var, if I make a var I in a for loop, it'll exist outside the for loop.
Doesn't hoisting only work with function calls, not variable references?
Functions can be called wherever in the file. You define a function. You define a function on line 42. You can call it on line 23. With variables, you could define a variable on line 42. If you call it on line 23, it's going to be undefined, right? Or it's going to throw you an error if it's a let. Fernando.
No hoisting. So
with lets.
Right, with let. So it wouldn't work before the let line, but it would work after the let.
It would work. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to work after the let line. Otherwise, there's no purpose to it, right? If it doesn't work before or after. Yeah.
As long as it's in the right sequence, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Let is the way it should have worked in the beginning, right? Let is the way it should work. If you define something here, it shouldn't exist on line 35. That's weird, right? But with normal JavaScript, it does. It's just undefined. So unless it's global, right? So if I say p equals 3, it actually p does not exist here. so weird. If I put var a equals 5, a is undefined here. If I do let b equals 3, b calling b here will throw an error. It's just the way it is, with the way they wrote it, you know. This makes the most sense right here. This is weird. This makes sense, but yeah, we shouldn't be putting a variable without some kind of var or let in front of it. So let me just put that as a file over here.
Will the first one throw an error as well?
The first one will throw an error as well. Global versus var versus let. Okay. So let's try this out right here. I'm going to comment out the ES5 stuff. Right, so we're expecting to see what should Aaron's height be? 70. And what should p.dot greeting say? Hi, my name is Aaron. So let's try this. CD. My name is Aaron. Perfect, right? So that was class person. And I'll just write testing out the class by making an object with it. All right, so now we're going to make another class. Make this a little bit taller. We're going to make a dancer. Extends person. Oh, I saw Us in theaters. It was amazing. It was incredible. It's so much more than what it appears to be. Okay. Go, Sandy. Yes. Over here? Yeah, it's very similar to, this is the classic JavaScript way, where I want to say, hi, my name is Aaron, period. But over here, I don't need to include any plus signs, and I don't have to close and open up all the quotes constantly. So this is just a much easier way of writing this right here. String interpolation. So like, if I want to write, hi, my name is Aaron, period, I can do it this way, or I can write, hi, my name is $ curly brackets, this dot NAM, which, and then put period right here, right? And it's going to be the same exact thing as this, except it's going to be much easier to write and read. Yeah, it's called string interpolation. I'll write that right now. Interpolation. Yeah, so now we have our class dancer, extends person. I still, if I want my dancer to have a name and height, I still need NA comma height. And now I'm also going to have a move, and I'll have stamina. All right, so for the name and height, I'm actually going to call the person's constructor function. Right here. So call the person constructor function and pass NA high to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and set this dot move and this dot stamina. I'm going to have a dance function. It's in a console log. I don't know. That's doing that move, right? Cool. Now, how do I make a dancer object? Let's go to Quaz side of the room. Let's. Excellent. Know any famous dancers? Derek Huff. Cool. And then height. 65. And now what's his special move? Running man. Stamina out of 100. 95. Cool. Right. So this right here is his name. Nah. And that's going to be set. That he's going to have this dot name set by the person's constructor function. And then right here, this is his height, 65. It's going to go right here into high. And we're passing it to the person constructor function right here. So this dot height will be set in that. And running man is going to go into MOV, and we're setting his move right here. And stamina is 95. It's going to go right here and be set in this dot stamina. Go ahead, Rob. Oh, you have to say super. So this is the only, you have to say super to be able to call person constructor function. Oh, I screwed that up. What should this be? Well, it should be move, but I'm forgetting something in front of it. This dot move. Yes, I can. So let me write that down. $, this dot, was it name? Was it name? It's num. So num is doing this move right here. So you can call the name, right? Because the name, we have the name and height properties. We have nom and height properties inside the dancer object. Go ahead, Sandy. Oh, what did you say? Oh, because I said this dot NAM and this dot height right here. So it's always gonna be NAM and HEIGHT. Oh, it's like just like this. $ curly brackets this dot NAM is doing this move colon this dot move $ curly bracket. Yeah. Now I can also call, let's say I'll add another function to person. We'll do, what do people do? Eat. I was just thinking that. You know, we're going to change that because I don't want people thinking about eating. Drink water. I was thinking smoke too, but I thought like maybe I shouldn't say that. Right? Drinking water. Was it incense? Might have allergies. Right? So drink, so a person can drink, right? So I can call the drink function off of the person object. And I can actually override the drink function by doing drink right here, right? This overrides the person drink function. right? Because I'm extending person, so I have any dancer object will automatically have a drink function inside of it, but I can override that drink function, right? Right here, console log. What do people do before drinking? Water. Smoke first. Sure. But if I want to call, I still want, like, I don't want to just override it. Like, I want to add on to it, right? What I can do right here is I can just use one word with parentheses after it to call the parent drink function. We've already used it before. Soup. Nice. Who said that? Genius. Genius. Right? So this right here, we're overriding the drink function up here, right? But we're saying we're gonna run this line 67 first, and then it's gonna run line 68. I mean, then it's gonna run this line right here. Everything inside this function, right here. So this essentially is how all languages do inheritance, right? All languages do inheritance like this: Python, Ruby, Java, Fernando.
So the main reason why super is calling on dance, right? Because it's all in the class, right?
Yeah, everything's encapsulated in this class,
Right.
but this class itself is extending person right here. So we have access to all of the stuff here, right? But just because we have access to it doesn't mean that's magically going to set it. We have to run line 55. We still need a name and height for our dancer, right? For the dancer to have a name and height, we still need to pass in a name and height. Right here. This is confusing. This is the first time we've done stuff like this. I mean, we kind of did this with prototypal inheritance with the prototype before using .call. So if I do d.dance, d.drink, and d.console log d.stamina right here, I'm going to comment out this stuff down here.
Super only on the function that is above it.
Yeah, exactly. It's only for the function above it.
That's its limit. Or is there a way to skip around something?
There could be a super. I don't know. I've never done that. Here.
This is just one up.
This is one up, right? What we're doing right now. There should be a way to go up to a higher level class.
Right.
I just it might have to be I don't super. It might get messy. It might be super proto. I don't really know. Super proto dot super. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure it's one up.
This is just one up, one level up. So we're calling. Let me write that down. Call the drink function and person in the person class. Let's write that down right here.
Has to be the
Let's
exact
try
same
saying.
function.
Hmm?
Has to be the exact same function name.
Has to be the same exact function name. Yeah. Yeah. So d.dance, d.stamina should print out what on line 74? Juthka. 95. Yeah, 95 was the stamina was the last one. 95 should print out 95. And what should d.dance do? Derek Huff is doing this move, Running Man. That's what it should print out right here. And d.drink should print out what? Breathe first. Drinking water, right? Yeah. So I just changed it. Okay, so we'll try node 01. What did I screw up on? How did I do this? Oh, wow. What did I do wrong here? I really thought this would work. Hold on. Let me just look this up real quick because I thought I'm thinking wrong. Call parent class function in inherited class es6 Oh, is this super.foo? Interesting. Okay, maybe let me try this. Super dot drink. Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. It's super dot drink. Super goes to the super is the constructor function, and super dot drink is the drink function in the parent class. So this d dot drink prints out breathe first, drinking water.
So you could put any of the person functions in there.
Yeah, so you could call any of the person functions in here via super dot the name of the person function. So why do things this way? It's a way of organizing your code using classes. So classes, it's just another way of organizing your code. So React uses classes to organize your code. Angular loses. Oh my God, what the fuck? Angular uses classes. Some water. Okay. Yeah, it's not good. That would suck if I got a stroke. Oh, obviously, but objectives, yes. All right, so can I just slack this out? No problem. Go ahead, download it. Can everyone try running this file? I think it should work without using Babel because I'm not using import export. Who had trouble with the Babel stuff? Okay, cool. Someone who had trouble with the Babel stuff, let me know if this runs.
How do you want us to run it?
Node space the file name. Should not show any errors. Excellent. Okay, so I want you to go over this with your partners. 10 minutes. Make a new object. Make a new object for person. Try out the functions, try out the properties. Make a new object for dancer, right? Maybe add a function into person, add extra properties in, play around with the code. You know, we'll do 15 because this is important.
If I add a new object,
We can create another dancer. Another dancer. Hmm?
I just want, I need your help on something.
Yeah, sure.
Move on. I've not been able to figure out how to use method override to do a put for the form on my like in class homework.
Can you go back to the other thing?
Yeah.
That looks right.
So I'm passing in the ID.
Sure.
Because that's the record that I want to update.
Yeah, that looks completely correct. Method equals post. Looks good.
Okay, and then so then.
Can you go to your
yeah,
server.js at the very top?
It's right here.
Can you show me? Do you have method override? You do. Did you include it into app.js? You did. Can you go into package.json? You have it here. All right. Should work.
It doesn't work.
Show me the put. This is it. This is the put.
Yeah, this is it.
Let me see here.
Is it? Is it maybe because it's rect.body? Do I need to change that? I don't know what the fucking deal is. I tried so many different things, and this is as close as I feel I've got.
Comments /ID : comment.
I created that in app.js.
Okay.
It's there if you're looking for it.
Oh shit! You added this into the HTML like this?
Well, because it loops all of that.
So you just did it. You wrote it wrong. Comments /ID /.
But that is the ID there.
Yeah, but you wrote comments /ID / comment.
So what I'm trying to say is, because if you look at the way that I type it, it should be
Oh, it should be colon.
the ID.
Should be colon.
It was okay, and then that should be params then, rec.params ID, not rec.body.
rec.params.id and rec.params.comment. Let's see.
So wait, go back to what you.
So let's see. What did you
so
do?
then
over
take
here?
that ID out.
Wait, this.
It's,
Yeah, it should take this one out.
okay.
And then this is rec.body.comment at that point. So then this is rec.body.comment
Why is that?
because this is inside the form.
So it's inside the form, then it's
If it's
body,
if it's inside the form and it's a post put delete, then it's gonna be body.
and then because this is
In the URL.
in the URL, it's params.
Yeah, and then get rid of colon comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
So
you
I
don't,
had that reversed. I thought
Yeah.
I thought because this is putting this in, it wouldn't be a parameter. I thought this was the body.
no, the body's gonna be here because it's a post put or delete, and then this is gonna be in the URL, so it's a param automatically.
Okay. And I put post, right? I can't put here because
You can't put put.
right. I
It's
put
post.
there.
That's good, smart.
Okay. So, all right, let's see if this fucking works. Okay. So then like you click on this, information's all there.
Wow, this is your homework.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And then
Cool.
all right.
Good job.
All right. So then one last question.
Sure.
Well, this finally worked.
Nice.
So now I'm trying to understand. So how would I add? Because if I do with this put, right, it's going to continue to update this comment. How do I do it so it layers? Like I turn this into like
You
an
keep
array
adding.
and
You
do
keep
one,
adding more
two.
comments.
So you think if I do another comment?
Oh
here,
no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I meant let's take a look.
It'll be server, right?
So this is setting. So you need to push into the comment field. So you need to treat the comment field as an array. You're treating it like a string.
Okay.
You need to, instead of set, I think you need to push.
Okay, so I could just do Mongo JS push. Is that where?
Something like this. Something like this. Except I wouldn't have
No,
tags.
well,
That's
now
what I'm
you
doing.
got me further along. I couldn't get past that stage. I'll
Yeah.
stick around with this until I
But
figure that out.
it's push that you want. You want to push into comment.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Mhm.
Quick question. So, now, like, for example, class dancer extend person, we have a constructor function, we're adding stamina.
Give me 1 sec. Which line?
Line, what's it,
22? 52.
52. So, we're using the extends function, like, call it extends function.
We're using the word extend.
We're using the word extends because we're adding stamina. Is that why?
Yeah, so dancer is going to have all the code of person. That's what this word extends does, right? So dancer is going to have everything because like all dancers start off as people, right?
So we'll look at person as a person.
Mhm.
Then dancer is a skill. So we're just adding a skill set.
Yeah, we're adding in moves, stamina, and a dance move, and an enhanced drink function.
Sorry.
No, go good questions. Hmm?
Can a base class only attend one class, or can it extend multiple classes?
Good question. You should be in other languages. That's easy to do. You usually use a comma, something like that. So, es6 class extending multiple classes. It might just be a comma. It's like this article has it. Static inherent multiple. Oh wow, amazing. Yeah, it's gonna be like this. So this is how you extend one class. Extends the ages class. If you want to extend multiple class, man, look at this great coloring. Class person extends. You know, I can't stand this. That was way too much work for nothing. So this is one class. This is inheriting multiple classes. Ages, genders. Do you see that? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Just change the color. Yeah, this is probably part of JavaScript. Multi.inherit. I'll just write this right here. Yeah, sure. Let me just put that. I'll put that in the file too. Give me 1 second. How to extend multiple classes in ES6. Hmm? All right, guys, activity time. This will take perhaps some time, but I'd like you to work together. Ebony, if you'd like, love for you to work with the Sandy and the Maricel over there. I don't know why I said the in front of your names, but in one file, you're going to make a person class. It's all going to be in one file, the whole thing. You're going to make a person class that has the following properties: name, fave sport, favorite Backstreet Boy. Has a function called play sport that console logs Frank is playing soccer, except use the person's name and fave sport in the console log. So you have to use this property name and fave sport in this function play sport. And then you're going to make a class called superhero that extends person that has the following properties: name, fave sport, fave Backstreet Boy via the person class, and superhero name, superpowers, which is an array of superpowers, and background story. And a function named do a ran move. It's going to console log a ran superpower from the superpowers function, superpowers property, like this: backwardo, walked backwards. Except backwardo would be superhero name, walked backwards would be a random element from the superpowers array right here. So if you can do this, you can do inheritance in any language. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Have fun, man. And when you're done, would love to hear your class with the class. in the general Slack room. All right, when you're done, just share your code so we could see what superhero you made. And 20 minutes on the timer. All right, I want you to take your time and really understand this. Work with groups, help your group members. If you want a pair program, I encourage it. One computer. So Maricel, if you guys want to code on Maricel's computer primarily, that'd be great. 20 minutes to do this. Take your time, raise your hand for questions.
I don't think the order the instructor and the timer, it's how they can go. So you can place like but it's gonna unstable up provide information about
About 9 minutes. All right, guys, I'm going to pause it. We're going to go over just part of it right now. It's going to go over part of it. 043 solution. Okay, so let's make a class named person. Fernando. Oh, I gotta make first. All right. Class person. Nice. Constructor. And in the constructor, how many do I have? 3. Right, so this dot name, this dot fave sports, this dot right there. And then we have a function inside of it called play sport. So qua. Nice. And inside of here, what am I going to write? Oh, is playing fave sport. So this is what the first part looks like right here. I'll just slack this out. Questions on this? You can, certainly can. So if I wanted to make an object right here, what would that look like? Let P I don't know their names off the top of my head. AJ, I'm assuming that's one of them. And then you can do p.favesport if you want to. Sure. You have to write this. You need this. This does not matter without this. So we can create as many objects as we want with this class. Any other questions on this before I start the timer again? None? No questions? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, all good? Okay, keep going.
Pretty good. You got it. If you say like take an object that you already defined or very defined from the ancestral and then you just want to basically if you already have an and you want to make it I guess you could just call it you could take that data from that person's object.
It just shares the same right? It shares that code. It doesn't share defining a first object and a super object. And what you could do is you want to do that with you have to do the other super and add a super object to that. So let's say
laptop floor of laptop.
So this one should be outside. Right. Thank you.
So according to what I read online, N means it's finding on the set, the push.
Mhm.
I'm curious if you can tell at all what I'm doing wrong here. I looked it up for that response.
Yeah.
What I'm getting.
That looks fine. Looks fine. I mean, I don't know the syntax of
So like
exactly,
if I
but-
look this up,
it's not adding the comment in. You
yeah.
don't-
So somebody came in and said it's the number of matched documents. So it's not
It's not finding it.
obviously it's not.
It says
finding
0. Okay, interesting.
So I'm curious.
So let's go over here. rec.params.id. Do we need to do an object or something on this? Yeah, something like that.
Mongo.
Yeah.
Did you make this a variable? Oh, I see. Me too. So you need to stick it. And then this is just going to give you an index. The random index or figure out which super
Let's see. 5 minutes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, hours.
So now I get that. Now it just gives me this.
Okay.
Just by adding the
Object,
Mongo.js object ID. So before,
So that's super.
but I can't
I
figure
mean, but
out
like
it-
this one's working, right?
Yeah, but see how, so I can't understand, when do I put in parentheses, not parentheses, quotations, and when do I not? Because I don't have quotations.
Oh, you're using MongoJS.object ID. So
Well, I'm saying on the ID, like right here, I've got quotations on ID. and
oh, it doesn't
quotations.
matter. It doesn't matter which one you do. You could do. You should be either one. They should be the same thing. Super strange. Okay,
So I have
so
like find and update one, like everybody's been like,
find and modify.
so I used find and modify. I've tried to use a couple, find and modify or find and update one. So find and modify reason gives me, oh, well that's different syntax there with the update, query and update. That's what I kind of had before.
Why not? I'll just do this.
You can take the sort out.
Yeah. Update.
Well, you still need generator grammars. It's almost exact same. Super.
Space maybe after,
Yeah, this function. Space after where?
between those two brackets,
Sure.
that's how they,
Or whatever.
yeah, so I've seen it done. So that's at least what the documentation has.
Doesn't look right.
Yeah, function. Will we go back?
Where?
You just go back to the code.
I kind of just made that up. Wait, hold on. I have this code somewhere. Let's copy this.
Hey,
Just copy this stuff. I did it like exactly correct programs that I did.
so we could probably take new true out of there.
I wonder what the hell that is. Why did I need new true? I'll just comment it out, I guess.
I
Edited,
did comment add.
edited doc. Try this. More time?
Yes, please.
We'll do 3 minutes.
So,
You know what, we'll just do 15-minute break right now.
that's the quickest way that you go to figure out when this happens. Because so you commented this out. Let's see. For some reason, what we put in somewhere, for some reason, we're in the error on this one.
That's probably it. Just looking at error.
Yeah. So sometimes like
I think the entire line, yeah.
this entire line.
That line, take it out. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Hey man, what's up? 14 minutes 20.
So I just want to eat.
Oh, you want to eat?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's gonna be. And it's okay. It's gonna. It's 8 till 5. I just want to.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna go over why we should use React and start going over basic
I'm
React.
just gonna have like maybe 10, 15.
You okay?
Yeah.
You feeling okay?
Yeah, yeah.
How long have you not eaten for?
Since last night.
Since last night?
Since maybe this say 10 p.m.
You didn't drink the water?
No,
No water?
Zero. Yeah, no.
All right, don't pass out.
No. I used to.
Okay.
I do that every year.
Okay. Good. All right. Take care, man.
Can't, yeah, still nothing
What
bad.
the hell?
This shit's like extremely difficult for me to grasp. I'm like trying so many different things and I don't know
I mean,
what's going wrong.
let's just try console logging.
And this all has from the push.
Okay.
Well, that's the comment that I want to push into right there. And then if I have to, I'll pull this link over. This is the link to that doc.
Mm.
So basically right now, comments buttholes, and I'm trying to get this to go and push into it.
All right. Oh, cool. Comment itself is in an array. Again, maybe that's the problem.
How do I turn it into an array?
So let's.
I assumed in Mongo it would just make it like you said, like if it doesn't exist, it just makes it.
Maybe because we're trying to push into it. Maybe it's an issue right now. So how about you just delete that comment right now?
Delete
that comment field completely,
and then
try
moving forward, push in,
and then push into
you
it.
think that should create it as an array?
I mean, it's just a guess. Try it right now.
Well, yeah, that's gonna take me a minute.
Yeah.
Not that quick.
Let's see here. Just do our user arrows. Thank you.
kidding.
So, man.
All right. Just having a problem getting the random power. So I kind of pulled from or whatever. That very traditional math floor rack match random multiplied by the length.
Just comment this out.
Do I need to like put a new this?
It should just say the name of these there. It's super. Oh, that's gonna be super N.
Nice.
So now Batman's showing up. So does this have to be? What did he say this?
And we also aren't logging his.
Coming back from here, like this version, it's nowhere else.
Oh, you're saying that that's not calling one.
It's not like saying it again somewhere.
Yep.
It's still here, right? But I don't know what this is.
Repeated superpower. This is it, right? Right?
This is we're trying to work around it. That's it.
Something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like God, I don't know. It's not right, but
Would you have that what you were looking for?
doing ah. Remove.
So it's right there. Oh, what is it? This is where.
Yeah, where are we going? Should be mapping hours. Undefined. Powers has to be this function. Yes. So you want to do grand. Damn it. Should we come back in a minute? Hold on.
Oh, sorry. We're good. We're good. Just finishing some one thing right here. Make sure this works. Beautiful.
It's beautiful. Like listen to the Backstreet Boys.
I know, right? You know, they got royal crazy. Did you hear about the guy who started the Backstreet Boys? He went to jail. He scammed. He did so many crazy things. He was on.
living like in this house, and he also
They actually anything from kind of insane. I know they were the world's most popular band. It didn't make any money from it. It's so sad. It's like imagine like. But they're doing. I think they're doing okay now because they have a Vegas show, so they should be making pretty good money. I mean, they're probably not multimillionaires, but they probably get paid.
sued for something, so they could like.
He was on. There's a show called American Greed on MSNBC where they show people. The biggest thing I learned from that show is you should be a criminal because you should be a criminal. You shouldn't steal $100 million, but you should steal maybe like $50,000 to $1 million from people, and you'll never get it because no one cares enough. And you should never rip off someone that's important because they'll, or some because there was one guy who, you should totally be criminal.
It's awesome.
It is perfect because like it's crazy that.
There's idiots everywhere.
Well, it seems like the police and the FBI don't really care about a lot of things. So like it was interesting. He stole like $30,000 from his attorney, right? He just took money out of the bank and just like left. And the attorney, called the police and they were like, hey, and the police were like, all right, we filled the report out. What else to do? And then they talked. I think they filed a report to the FBI, right? And nothing happened. Turns out that guy. Obviously, you steal $30,000, nothing happens to you. What do you do next? You keep stealing it, right? So he ended up going to the higher ranks and stole like $50 million, right? Like did a $50 million scam, right? And then they were like, okay, maybe we should care now. And then people really got on the back.
Guy had a really good time.
Right? Yeah. So it's ridiculous. Yeah. That's what I realized. Just steal a couple $1 million one time. And then you're done, right? And then no one will ever come after
be
you.
legit, like suddenly just be legit after that.
Yeah, and then be legit after that. That's it. Rob 10 banks and then walk away.
It's like 1 out of 3 something bank robberies is like successful.
Oh, they're
They're pretty much you're not like on crack. You're gonna you're gonna be fine. Because
if we all got together and robbed banks,
we would be
so great at it.
Because we'd be like, well,
we'd be smart.
Don't use the names and get the hell out of there.
Well, we would coordinate
how many
together.
movies have we seen?
We would watch. We would just sit down and watch Netflix for a
Just
while.
take us in the drawer, jump in for the safe, just in the drawer.
Yeah, we get Google Maps, right?
What's the movie that's out on Netflix right now? It's like where they're chasing the two guys who are on the land robbing banks.
Sounds amazing. That.
I'll find it.
Stop. Okay.
Sorry, the real quick question that we really had was just getting to this question. We were trying to get these superpowers, which are these Batman, and then to have it listed
That is correct, but the thing is, you're doing that inside the class, inside of a function. These things have to be inside that function. Do a random move.
Right here.
Yeah, and then over here, let me see right here.
So you move it to right under 36. 36.
I see what you're doing. Okay, so you're gonna do.
This might be wrong because we have shuffled it a bunch now.
What's this one?
Oh,
That's the event loop.
Yeah, I was gonna recommend that to people after showing over what my next thing is. So this is something you would do inside the. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is good. Batman moves. Yeah, B's thing is Rand would be super P. Superpowers would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, now it should work. It's not doing it. P is not defined. Why is this dot super P not defined?
Because it's superpowers. I think it's reversed.
No, that's fine. Superpower. It's super P is right here. Oh, super N.
That's the name.
I don't see super N anywhere.
Because it's
Super N. Okay, this this dot. There's no rand.
That's the problem.
This
That's
dot's
what we've been struggling
super. This is doing his random move. Rand.
Oh, yeah.
Why is super P not defined? Super P. Where's super P? Oh, it's this dot super P. That's why. This dot super P. Yeah. This dot super P.
Nice.
Good job.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's like one word.
The lesson there is that we had to get this property was there and the one that I copied. All right, thanks a lot.
No problem. Guys, let's go over this now. All right, so 043 solution. We did class. We did the first part, the person. And now let's do the superclass. Right now. So let me copy this over. Okay. Aaron, Haven, what should the first line be for the class? Perfect. Extend person, curly brackets. And now we're going to make our construction. And the properties here, copy these over. And then copy this over. Great. Okay, so it should go inside here on this right here, Derek Juthka.
Super. And the properties that are going to try to base for the
Great. And then Fernando's row, what should go here? Rob, ciao. Here, you guys. What should go? Excellent. Supers equals superpowers. This dot background story equals background story. Good. Did I do some? Oh, superhero name. I forgot that one. Okay. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter because they're gonna go. Those arguments are gonna go right into this. Yeah. So, whatever because whatever I'm passing in here. The first order matters. The order matters here. Good. And now we have a function called do a rand move. So, let's go to Maricel's side of the room. How would I write this function? Great. And why would I do wrong here? I don't need the function name. Okay. And then what should go in here? I'll just do index over here. Math.random times this dot superpowers, good. Dot length, and over here saying math.floor, right? Math.floor. Good. And on the next line, I'll do let r val. And what should this be? Good. R index. Excellent. And then over here, to be here. It should print out something like this. Good. This dot's superhero name. Good. Very good. Used R val. And we'll do an exclamation mark here at the end. Perfect. And now let's make a new superhero object right here. So let's go to Fernando. Excellent. And then which forget something? Background, I didn't forget. Okay. Clark, comma, football. I think I don't know. Basketball. It was football? Okay. Comma. Superhero name. And what did I do wrong? Oh, thank you. Superpowers, super. Being super. He's just good. Oh, yes. Thank you. What the hell did I do? Oh, my God. Okay. You're right. Has to be an array. Super strength. Super fast. Freeze breath. Laser eyes. Anything else? Flies, yes. Damn, dude. Crazy. X-ray vision. And the last part was his background story. Parents put him in to a spaceship, landed on Earth. Luckily, found parents. And now, if I do s.doAround move, it shipped out one of these things here. And what that is shall be interesting. Let's see. So let's run this. Use super fast X-ray vision. Cool. Let's go over this. So why did I write extends person here? Judika, Derek. Excellent, right? Superhero, we want the superhero to have a fave sport function. We want the superhero name, a favorite sport, and a favorite Backstreet Boy, right? So that's why we extended person. And then what does this line 51 do right here, Rob's row? Very good, right? We're calling the person class or function. So we can set the name, fave sport, favorite Backstreet Boy. And over here, a doAround move, is this function available inside an object made with the person class? No, it's not, right? We only have a fave sport function in any object made with the person class. What about, does Superman have a fave sport function? Yes, he does, right? What is it going to print out? Right, it's going to print out Clark is playing, right? Good. So this is how inheritance works with like any language out there. The only difference that other languages have than JavaScript is that what you usually have is you either have public, you either have the word private, internal, or static on method. So I'll write this down. In other languages, if you guys move on to a language like Python, Ruby, PHP, or Java, Java might be a little harder because it's just wordy. But any of those languages, you'll find yourself just being able to jump in really quickly. C#, right? Because it's literally, the syntax will look like this. It will look like very much so. Go ahead, Fernando. Oh, really? Why? Oh, my God. Well, there's pseudo rooms still in Oakland. So pseudo rooms like Noise Bridge also, but that's when are they losing the lease? I'm sure they'll jump into another lease somewhere else. I'm sure if they'll get a place somewhere, right? Somewhere with affordable or something. I'm sure. Slide the code here in the general channel, just so we can see what superheroes people made. In other languages, the functions will have modifiers on them. So this function right here could have the word public on it, private, internal, or static. So public is what we've been doing already. You can run this function anywhere. Private means if you extend this class, you won't have access to this function in the extended class, in the child class, if you put the word private on it. These are not available in JavaScript. These are in other languages, right? Public's basically what we've been doing already. All the functions we have are basically public. With the word private, we don't have, right? It just means that if you put the word private, if I put private over here, right? If I put the word private over here, then the hero class does not have access to FaveSport anymore. Oh, inside superhero? The superhero won't have FaveSport at all. If I put the word private on it. I mean, in JavaScript, you're going to have FaveSport, but in other languages, if I put the word private on it, then the superhero class that extends person won't have access to FaveSport. Because what I'm saying, because just think about private as it's just private for this class. Right. This is just for this class right here. Right, but FaveSport is defined with constructor function as well as access. Oh, I named this terribly, didn't I? Sorry. I named that so horribly. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. So it'll have access to yeah, it's going to have access to this property FaveSport, but not to the play FaveSport function. That's awful. Sorry. And then over static is interesting. When you put the word static in front of a function call, you can access this function without having to make an object out of it. So if I wanted to run a static function right here, I could do the name of the class. In Ruby, it's like this, like that. I don't have to make an object with superhero. I can use this function directly off the class. Why would you do this? Well, if this function is accessing properties inside of that class, but it doesn't make sense, like I'm only going to call this function for a specific use case where I don't need an object, I would make it static. I've used it a few times, right, where you don't have to make an object because you're not going to be using anything else other than this one function, right? Internal, I'm going to get rid of internal. It's not in every language. The words static, private, and public are usually in all. Right, so private means if you extend the class, you won't have access in the child class. So let me send this out. Actually, what superhero you guys made? So you can just Slack it out right here in the general channel. Go ahead, download 04, 05, 06. Let me know when you download it all. Cool. I have O5 open. So lines 2 through 6 right here. I wanted to go over, I went over this, guys, but I didn't show you how to fix it. Right? I went over this with you, but I didn't fix it. So I'm going to show you how to fix it in every way possible. Because that could be an interview question. So lines 2 through 6, this prints out 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Why? Why does lines 2 through 6 print out 5 repeating? Why doesn't it print out 1, 2, 3, 4? Good. The for loop is faster than set timeout. Set timeout, by the time the first set timeout happens, the for loop is already done. Right? The for loop's already finished. And by then, when the for loop's done, what's the value of I when the for loop's done? 5. Right? When the for loop's done, the value of I is 5. So then when the first set timeout happens, it's going to be 5. Right? Now there are ways to fix this though. There are ways to fix this. So the first way to fix this with classic JavaScript is this right here. You can make a function and you can put timeout inside of that function, right? And you can call that function inside the for loop. Right? This will fix it. It'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 here. This is one way to fix it right here. So you're just taking the stuff inside the for loop, putting it inside a function, and you're calling the function here. Why does this work? Because the function, this function call is just taking in I, right? It's in I, which is what on the first iteration? 0, right? Then 1, then 3, and then 4. And it's just executing it, right? Sure, this will take 1 millisecond. The first do set timeout finish after the for loop is finished executing completely. But 0 is going to be passed to the function, right? Like basically 20% in to the function into this for loop. So this is one way of doing it, right? With classic JavaScript. I want this right here. This right here is a flashcard for you guys. You're practicing for interviews, right? This could be an interview question for sure, right? I've certainly seen it, and Kit did too. So you might see it. So I'll comment this. There's another way to fix this also. Here's another way to fix this. This is a harder way of looking at it, right? What I'll do first is I'll write a function here, add. What does this function do, Nick?
It console logs the sum.
It console logs the sum of 2 parameters of it. If I do add 1, 2, it should print out 3, right? So I could rewrite this way of writing the above. Oh man, it's gonna suck writing this. Let's see. All right, so this will print out, well, what does this print out? 3. So another way of writing this is the kind of wild, but this is another way right here of writing this. This is a self-invoking anonymous function, right? So basically it's anonymous. Why is it anonymous right here? There's no name, right? That's why it's anonymous. It's self-invoking because, see this is the anonymous function part. I have parentheses. I basically just put parentheses around the anonymous function, and then I executed it with these parentheses right here. and I'm passing 1, 2 into it. So A is going to be what? 1, and then B is going to be 2, right? It looks weird, but once you compare it to this, it's understandable, right? Once you know that this right here is very similar to this right here, understandable. Go ahead. You have to call just each time I want to call this function, I have to do this. So this is one call, and this is another call.
So we just have to rewrite it.
You have to rewrite the entire function every time you want to. Yeah. So understanding that, now you can take a look. Right? Oh, good, Fernando. Yeah, absolutely. So over here, this is the anonymous function, right? I put in parentheses and I execute it. Because how do I execute a function with parentheses? How do I pass argument? Well, in the parentheses, I pass in 1, 2. So I'm executing it with the values right here. Whereas here, I'm executing with, see 1, 2. It's the same thing.
The 1, 2 is to the left curly bracket with
So this right here is the same thing as the add function. And this right here is the same thing as this right here. It's hard to look at, but it's just a self-invoking anonymous function. Anonymous, we wrap the anonymous function with parentheses, and then we invoke it with the parentheses and pass in the value into those arguments into it. So you can use that. What'd you say?
Avan?
Yes.
Why would we use one over the other?
Why do we do what?
Why would we use one over the other? Like, what is better and why?
Why would we use this over this one? I guess in this scenario right here, when I would personally not use this ever. I would use this right here.
Okay.
I would do it this way, but you'll see people writing it. You'll see people doing this as the following way as a solution to it. I wanted to just show it to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this what? Yeah, it's gonna multiply instead. Oh no. Here it is. Okay, so over here, I have the loop. I have the for loop over here, right? And I have an anonymous function, right? This part right here is an anonymous function. So here, let me make it a little bit. See, this is an anonymous function right here, right? It's taking in an argument called index, and then we have the set time out of it with a function with a function inside console log and index. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to wrap this anonymous function in parentheses. I'm going to execute it, right? But I need to pass in a value that will go into index right here. So I'm going to pass in this fixes it, and this will print out as 2, 3, 4. It's another way of fixing it. Right here. This right here is very similar to this way right here. We have a named function, right? We're just executing an anonymous function inside the for loop. Here we have the function outside the for loop, and we're executing it inside the for loop. Now, es6, it's so much easier. It's so much easier with es6. es6, this is all you have to do. You change the word var, and you're done. That's it. You change the var to let, and that's it. It just works. And it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So tightly scopes the I is tightly scoped. Only does I does not exist here. Like after the for loop, I is not there anymore because we use the word let, and it's tightly scoped, and it works exactly the way we believe it should work, right? The way it works in Java.
Well, what you're saying is you can delete from 72 to 74 and just console log I. And it'll do exactly what you don't need to set timeout.
Well, I mean, the whole point of this was to show you how to make it print out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 with the set timeout inside the for loop. It's trivial to console log without a set timeout in a for loop, right?
What it would do is what you want it to do. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, but so you're absolutely right. If I got rid of the set timeout right here, print out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're absolutely right. But let's say I say, as the interviewer, no, you need to set timeout there. Then you have to change the var to a let, right? Or you have to do one of the other ways before. I like thinking. Yeah, go ahead, Marisol. It's not the data type.
I mean, from var to let, but it wants to change the runtime of the.
Change the runtime of the for loop. Yeah, it just does. I don't know how they wrote it exactly. It tightly scopes it so that way, I guess it passes. Yeah, it does. It changes the event. It almost seems like it changes the event, right? If you're really interested in how the event loop, where's that stupid video? Yeah, var to let. If you are interested, a lot of people say this video is really good. I got too bored. I couldn't watch it, but you could. And a lot of people say that they understand the event loop afterwards. Right here. But yeah, so this is one way to fix that. If you really want to make it ES6 like, right here, use arrow syntax. So instead of the word function, you use arrow syntax. It doesn't change anything, but this is fully ES6 now. Right here. The whole point of this was to show you this right here prints out 55555 and showing you multiple ways to fix this, right? Kid and I both have seen this, and so we recommend you make a flashcard for this and practice when you do get an interview and before. Questions on this? Yeah, go ahead. Like why it's happening? Well, and in technical, I don't think I can explain it in a technical way, but over here, you watch this video and I'm sure like it'll tell you the language behind the event loop and stuff, or because I'm not going to be able to explain it right now. I haven't seen the video, but over here, I can explain it right here because in this example, the set timeouts, first set timeout happens after the for loop happens, whereas here, over here, this function execution call, this function timeout gets executed as the for loop iterates. As the for loop iterates, each execution happens here, right? And good because when the first time we call this function, I is going to be 0. So this is going to be 0. And then the second time is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So here that makes sense, right? And so if I go to the next one, self-invoking function, it's actually the same way, right? So on the first one, this function, this anonymous function executes. And the value is going to be 0 on the first iteration. And then the next iteration is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead, Fernando.
No,
Yes. Nice, good. That's great. And then the weirdest one is, I mean, Maricel's right. Like I'm not really explaining this exactly correctly, right? But It's a scope. Well, what's interesting here, I'll just explain something over here. Once you go see React, you'll see. I'm not gonna explain this right. Sorry. Like I right here in the first iteration is gonna be 0, then 1, and 2, and then 3 and 4. But I don't have a good explanation. I'm sorry. Yeah. Good. Okay.
First time I 0, times I justify. So once you get up to 4.
That's the way I'm explaining it right now, but it's not technical.
That doesn't sound good enough for like.
I think what they'll do is they might ask you to explain. They might ask you to explain the event loop. Quoi? They might actually explain the event loop, which I've never actually gotten that question asked ever. But you guys probably will. Yeah, var will make something global and wherever it is. Whereas let, if you use it inside of a block, it only stays in that block. Only stays in that block. Good. Yeah, there could be a little bit more explanation around the event loop that you might want to add on to that.
How would you respond in an interview right now if someone asks you?
I would fail it. I would just explain it like that. I mean, guys, I would prepare for an interview by watching the event loop, whatever. I mean, I'd have to prep.
You won't even get an interview if you don't know React.
No, you might. You might. You might not do well on it, but you might get it. All right. So I sent out es6, and it just goes over what is React and why we're going to use it. I kind of did before, but I want to make sure I go over it again, right? Before we used not handlebars, we used EJS, and EJS is a templating library. What's the advantage of using EJS over res.send file? What does EJS give us? What did you say? Embedded JavaScript. We could use JavaScript inside of it. Someone, Ebony? We could use layouts, right? We could use partials. So we could have one file in every single file, right? We could have a footer. We could have one footer file, and we could use that in every single file, right? So we just update one file with every single other file, right? We could pass data to our file and then loop over it, right? And display a bunch of, so let's say we have an array of, let's say we do select star from users, right? And we send all the users to an index.ejs file. And then we could do a for loop over the users and display a paragraph tag for every user's name on the page, right? That's it with embedded JavaScript. We can't do that with res.send file. By sending a file, I mean, we'd have to do an AJAX call and create paragraph tags for every single person, right? And that to the page. So EJS is a templating library. Templating libraries make our lives easier. It makes our lives easier because, I mean, we don't have to do so many AJAX calls. In fact, we use a templating library. It's called JSX. So after this class, you're kind of gonna get two templating libraries, EJS and JSX, right? This is for Node, this is for Express, and this is for React. Can you use this in other places? Yes, you can, but typically people use it in React. So why use React at all? My biggest thing when I first heard of React Native, right? Because I can use React and learn it, and then I can use it to make native mobile applications. With React Native, the mobile that you make will export to native Objective-C. So it'll work exactly an app that you made with Objective-C. Right, Objective-C is a language for iPhones. There's Swift, which is the newer language now for iPhone development, but React Native will actually boil down to just Objective-C code, which is really cool. And it'll also boil down to like native Java code for Android applications. They say you could just export it to both iOS and Android, but you really have to, if you're gonna use React Native, you could share some code between your Android app and your app, maybe like 10, 15% of your code. like basically all the API calls that you make, you could share that code between your iOS and Android app. But really, any UI thing, you have to like redo it. The reason why is because like there's like weird little things that are different between iOS and Android. They're totally different things. So why use React at all? Well, you can make native applications. That's big because there's a huge community of people that use it, right? There's just a ton of use React. If you want a job in the Bay Area, a lot of people use React, right? It is something it is a good thing to go after. There's another one, it's Angular, right? There are a decent number of jobs in Angular, but I think it's more of an East Coast thing, but there are a decent number of jobs here that use it. If you want to get help, it's easier with React because there's a lot of people using it, right? It's harder to get help with Angular because there's so many different Angular versions. There's so many, and they're just so drastic from one another. So it's harder to get help with Angular because there's so many different ones. Whereas React, I mean, they kind of like stayed strong with that one version, and they asked up to it, but they kind of stayed strong with it. And the new Angular is basically React. They copied React because people like the syntax a lot. Okay. And then because everyone just started, I mean, this is kind of true. Like Facebook released it and decided to use it for everything. Like a lot of companies just started using it. It organizes the front end experience the way Facebook imagined it. So this is the way Facebook imagined experience should be, and people trust Facebook, even though they shouldn't, right? But a lot of people like the idea that one of the biggest companies in the world, right, with basically like what is it, 1/5 of the world's population or 1/4 of the world's population using it, like they're using React for it, so feel a little bit fine using it. Because if they can handle it, if they can handle that kind of like users, then we can handle like 1,000 users fine. Go ahead, Sandy. So React Native uses React code, right? So using the same syntax, you can make mobile applications. And React Native is like it's like an NPM package, and you can use mobile applications. But it uses very similar syntax to React. You can only do it with React Native. With React, you can make web apps. So the main difference is React uses HTML, whereas React Native doesn't use HTML, right? It uses components. But once you learn React and you look at React Native, you're like, oh, this looks, right? It looks extremely similar. Yeah, and it makes managing state easier, right? React makes state easier. What is state? State is just data. So let's say I have a variable, like I have an array of people, right? And let's say I add a person, right? I have to like create a paragraph, right? I have to create a brand new paragraph. Anytime I delete a person, I need to delete that person and change all the numbers for all the people, right? Like I have to keep track of where that is on the page constantly. Whereas with React, I don't have to keep track of the HTML. You don't have to keep track of it. You change the data and it will just change HTML for you. You don't have to find it and change it with .text or .html. It'll just automatically change in real time. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's not synced with the server in real time. It's going to be synced with like the inputs in the data on the page. Right? Over here, it's a front. So what is React? It's a front-end framework. It's not jQuery. jQuery is another library. You can import and use jQuery in React. I'm going to not jQuery just to show you what it's like, right? Just to show you what it's like when you don't use jQuery. You certainly can use jQuery with React. Why? Because jQuery is just a way of finding on the page and updating the text inside of it, right? Or making an AJAX call. That's what jQuery is for. React is a way of organizing everything, organizing the entire front-end experience, right? It's a front-end framework. It's not a library. jQuery is more of a library. It's just a list of functions I can use, right? jQuery is a functions you can use. React is a way of doing something. It's a way of like ordering your entire application. right? And the way you use React, extending React classes, which is why we just went over that. You extend classes in React. Cool. And so we'll do something we'll do something like simple, but actually complex in React right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, copy a previous application I used. And then we'll have you guys play around with it. Tomorrow, I'm going to go over a little bit more into it. And then you're going to start your first React homework assignment in class, right? So no more homeworks at all. You just do it all in class. And then, but then you have your projects to focus on. So let me find. All right, cool. Intro React. Paste this stuff in. Oh wait. So I installed this thing called Yarn. Yarn is like npm but faster and more secure. You could use npm or you could use Yarn. The benefit of using Yarn is that it installs much faster, right? And it is more secure. Only time will tell, though. It gives you problems with it. Less problems. Okay. I know you use it at work, right? It'd be cool to kind of hear what you do one day.
I just posted a job posting. We are hiring React
Nice. Nice.
We're working with like the contractors in Portugal right now.
Oh yeah.
When we get online, so.
It's nice to have someone in the office, right? To kind of work with. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happens a lot of times. Sometimes you and it's like it looked good on paper. We save a lot of money, and then no one's doing work. And then it's like, well, we saved money, but no one's doing work, so it's not good. Okay, so let me go into this real quick. Change up the code a little bit. I need form. .js. I'm not going to import this. Okay, just get rid of. Into the mount. I'm just making this a little bit smaller. All right. Yeah, you mix the HTML and JavaScript together. I did this a long time ago when I first started to code and said, don't do that. Bad idea. And now here I am teaching it to you guys. This is basically how to do it. Right? Okay, cool. Let's see, I got everything I do. Good. All right. Let me just start this up before I say start. Sure. All right. Let's put a line break in between those. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to go into, I have React developer tools. So maybe install these two. It gives you a Chrome extension that helps you debug your applications a little bit better. So go ahead and install this Chrome extension. And Fernando, give me a thumbs up when you have it installed. You can't install it? William, let me know when you have it. Is that a Windows machine, Fernando? You should get some more memory. You can probably buy some memory for $50 and probably make it much faster. Oh, just Chrome? Yeah. So strange. Oh. Derek, you got it? Cool, great. So over here, this is essentially how your React application is going to look like. Go plus. So this is how your React application is going to look. It's going to have an SRC folder, a source folder that's going to have all your components, right? What are components? They're React classes that you extended, right? You're going to have a package.json file. If you use Yarn to install, you're going to see a yarn.lock, right? You're going to have a node modules, public folder, and that's essentially what your React app's going to look like. Now, we open up the package.json. You'll see all of this. Now, this isn't there when you do npm and init-y, and npm and init-y doesn't give you all of this automatically. So I use an application called Create React App. Right, so I use this to create that, right? By doing this right here, it automatically puts in, puts this into my package.json file. It automatically my es6 and convert it to es5, so that I don't have to deal with that nonsense, right? It just makes it super simple to kind of start a React application. If you have to manually, it's a lot of work. You have to use something called Webpack, and you have to configure this thing called Webpack manually. Whereas Create React App kind of does Webpack configuration automatically, right? So basically, it lets you just start coding. So these are big packages that we use: React, React DOM, and React scripts. These are the big packages we use to be able to code our React application right here. In this public folder, we have an index.html file, and this is what you see when you start up your React application by doing yarn start or npm start, right? By doing that in the terminal, it starts up your React application in your browser. This is the page that pops up, right? So it's just an index page, right? Just an index page, but your entire, on line 29, this one line is where your entire React app will go. In this div right here, your entire React application is going to be rendering this div right here. And so in the SRC folder, there's an index.js file, right? This index file starts up, and what it does is it finds a div it finds an element with the root, and it renders the app.js file into it. It renders the app.js file into the element with an ID of root. So in the index.html, line 29, what's the ID? Right? So that's why index.html in the public folder and index.src folder, these two work together to kind of like start up your application. Where? Oh, hashtag root. Because they use the get element by ID function. If they use query selector, yeah, I mean, I would do query selector. This is, I'd rather do this right here, but yeah, it comes deep the other way. So over here, we're importing the app class from app.js. That's what we're doing on line 4. So we're importing the app class. And then we're on line 8, we're using JSX. JSX is a templating language like EJS. It's mainly used for React.js. So we're taking this app class and we're rendering it into the div with an ID of root. And if we look at what that app class looks like, it looks like this. This is what the app looks like right here. Class app extends component. Component come React from the React package right here on line 1. And it's exported on the bottom on line 29. Right, it's exported on the bottom, and that's how we're able to get it in index.js. Right, that's how we're able to import from the app.js file, because we're exporting it on line 29.js file. This is a lot to take in, right? So don't expect you to get it all in the first try. You know, over the next 2 weeks while we use this, right, you'll get a little used to it over time. Right, so I don't expect you guys to understand everything right now, but 2 weeks you're gonna do 2 homeworks in class with this, right? So you'll be fine. So over here in the class, I have a constructor function. It's just like the constructors we wrote before, right? And over here we have one prop. We're calling super. What does super do? Yes, right. It calls the constructor function in the component class. That's what super does, right? You need line 7 to happen to write anything over here. And then this dot state is a property of the app class. It's a property of the app class. This is actually a React thing. You must call this state, right? Over here, you must call the component constructor function using super before setting any properties in this class. This is a React thing. A React, I don't know what the name of that thing is. Like a standard, React standard. So over here, I have a property called name. Set to Juthka. We'll have another one, another name. So I just put another name right here. This right here, it's so strange, but this function must be called render. Right, and I have to return something. And this is where you write your JSX. This is your JSX right here. In your JSX, you must start, you must have like, it must be completely enclosed. So you have to, usually you have like a div tag and you have a closing div tag. So it has to be enclosed completely. Over here, if I want to put anything, if I want to show any data, it's going to be this dot state dot name or this dot state dot other name. Right, so if I do this right here, where are we? Right, just Josh, right up there. And if I do I can do the reverse of his name also, just like this. right? And it's cool because I don't need to like, I don't need to find that place on the page and update the email or text of it, right? I just write the name of the variable and it puts it on that page, puts it onto the page. Now that's kind of cool, but let's say I have an input. Crap, I gotta look this up. Where is, yeah. Okay, I have a button over here. So I'll make an input right here, type text. And I'll have a button over here. Or you know what, it's gotta be an on change. Let me look this up. On change input trigger function react. Here we go. Nice. On change, I'm going to call a function over here. So call this dot update name. And over here, I'll call update. I'll have an update name function. I'm using arrow syntax. And I forget, is this the way I write it? I have to put event. I'm going to throw a debugger right here, and I will try to trigger this function from changing the input. So we have the input right here. Let me put a line right after the input. Right, so we have the input, we have 2 line breaks, and we have Josh's name. And I'm going to get rid of the line breaks because it's hard to see everything that's happening. There we go. I will just change it to S. Okay, good. It triggered right here. Awesome. So I can get the value of S right here. So I'm going to hit escape. Bring up the mini console. It's a little bit smaller. Event.target will get me the input. .value. Good. So that gets me the value of whatever was typed inside the input. Event.value. So what I'm going to do over here in the function is I'm going to update name in state. So I'm going to do this dot state equal this dot set state. Right here, name colon event dot target dot value. So whatever the value of the input is, I'm going to update property right here. It's kind of weird, but in React, you never directly update this dots in the class. You always use this dot set state function. This is a React standard. So as this input changes, so does the name right here. So watch, we'll put in someone else's name, Nando. Let's take a look at that. right? As I write his name, it also reverses it over here for me, right? If you had to code that out yourself, it is actually a little painful, right? Imagine you have 4 or 5 different places on your screen based on some data, right? Let's just say you have like a night or something, or let's say you have a bunch of dials. Like think of the thing that Josh's group made, right? Remember that thing with the map and all the weather across the Bay Area? And then your idea was to kind of make a dial for it at the bottom. That would be a lot easier to do in React than it would be elsewhere, because change the dial, it'll just automatically update. You don't have to like go into the DOM and change that constantly. You would just let it happen, right? You would just change the value of the date, and then it should just automatically change everything for you, automatically. I'm not. It actually refreshes it for you. That's pretty React app. There's something called browser. Yeah, every time I save, it refreshes.
So the browser does.
The browser is refreshing for me, but that's Browserify. It has a package called Browserify, and that's what it's doing.
Server that's sending a refresh.
It's
I'm just curious how that.
yeah, it's this. It's where I think it's Browserify. Yeah, it's a React app. Okay, so I have that for, let's see. We have the update name function, and I'll also make another function for update another name. Update another name. Update name. So now I should be able to change this to Aaron and Neva. It's the best reversal ever. This is not a bad reversal too. It makes sense. What's Josh's again? es6. Yeah, no, yeah. Carrot, something, yeah. Nav app. Take a nap, yeah. But here, let me send this to you guys so you can take a look at it. We're going to continue going over this in the next class, right? And then we're going to start your React homework in the next class. Let me just see if I can get this. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to do, if you have Yarn, you can do Yarn install, Yarn start. Or if you don't have Yarn, do npm install and then npm start. Again, since it's going to take some getting used to. The new Boston has some incredible videos. If you want to start watching them, it could help you a little bit. So go ahead, download this, unzip it, npm install, npm start, or yarn install, yarn start, whatever one you want to do. And Nick, give me a thumbs up when you have that. Take care, buddy. Nick, you almost done?
It's Yarn start.
Yarn install. Did you finish that part? And then yarn start. Yarn install. Does Edge have developer tools though?
That's what
Yeah, I don't think it does. That's what's wrong with it. Cool, awesome.
That's not my RAM. I got my CPU.
Okay, well, that's a lot. All right, 5 minutes. Spend what you can on it. Right, raise your hand if you have questions. We're gonna continue going over this in the next class. Do New Boston React playlist.
So it's actually.
What's his playlist? There we go.
Damn, the New Boston has it for every.
Literally everything. It's kind of nuts.
How could Bucky?
Oh, there's some few more people. Yeah, yeah. I love that guy though. Dude, I learned how to do back end from him.
Really?
2011, yeah.
Great. So, dude, I was gonna actually ask you, and it's kind of funny that you wanted to react. I was curious how when I comment and I add it, how do I not redirect? I want to stay on the page and then append it.
Okay. So you don't want to you don't want to.
Like,
so if you make it a link.
And then they follow it.
If you make it a button or a link, and then when you click on it, event.prevent default.
Okay.
And then you just make the Ajax call, then it won't redirect.
And then append it like in real time. Is that like? Could you make it so that way, like the Ajax call, then append to here?
Yeah, and then after the Ajax call is finished, in the .then or the .done,
right.
You take the data and then you just throw it on append it to the page.
Append it to the page.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the one issue is like if a lot of people are using your site, then you should probably just remove all the comments and then just re-put all the comments.
So you mean like .then and then do like a for loop of the?
Oh, I wouldn't do a for loop. I would do a call to the comments for this particular thing.
Right.
And then put those comments, erase the comments here, and then put those comments onto right there. Because let's say
so it's saying so data because if people are putting it in a
if the whole class is using this at the same time,
and everybody's
it's gonna miss a bunch of comments from other
people
on this.
So how would you do that in the Ajax? So because this page isn't reloading. I mean,
yeah. So you're gonna have a call.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have an Ajax call inside the .then or .done.
Hitting .then Ajax call.
Exactly.
Like the database or whatever I'm doing here to like append it, going into the database or whatever. Okay. So then when I'm looking at, so then the one other question I had is, so for this, then what would I do? What do I do here with this
over
to
here?
Turn it into a button?
Okay.
So
what you want? Res.json? Comment. I'm sorry. I guess what you could do is this is kind of crazy. You could do another Ajax call. You could do another. Where's the find? This is interesting. Yeah, right here. You just do this inside of it. And then you don't have to do the Ajax call inside there. You just get back everything. So over here, do this. ID, params ID. Yeah. So when you do the Ajax call.
Where's comment add supposed to go in here? This comment add.
Oh, you don't need it. You don't need that anymore. You're just making an Ajax call to this particular is this comment?
This is a comment, and then it's pulling in from the input.
Is this ID for this document? Is this right here? Is this get all the comments, including the information for this thing?
Well, this is find one, and this would be ID for that one. For the this would be the ID for that one document.
Okay, this should work. This should get you back the entire thing, all the comments.
Let's see. So that just gives me back the whole ID. So then, okay.
So now you can take all these comments and throw it right into the page again. Erase all the comments in there, and then put these comments back to the page.
And I do that with an Ajax call in the app.js piece on the button.
Well, once you update it, once you add that comment in, you actually get all the comments back.
I do that on the server side or the
On the application side, on the app.js side,
yeah. So here, so
When-
when
when
I
that-
go on click
on click
on that button for
Mhm.
submit, then
the Ajax call happens
it happens
to this route
to
right
this
here,
route,
and then after and the dot done up and the dot done in the
Then-
function you're gonna get back data. That data is gonna be this doc.
okay,
That doc's gonna have all the content.
then DB find comments and append to the page.
Exactly.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Just to run it and yarn start.
Yarn install, then yarn start. The yarn install work.
I think so. Yeah, 'cause I did the homebrew.
Okay, good. You install yarn.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
a while, a class or two ago.
With Windows, it's kind of yarn work. I think there's something else that people use.
So I can use that for everything moving forward instead of Nodema.
Instead of Nodemon, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yarn start. Well, Nodemon's good for on back end things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We are going to use Nodemon once we have React and Node running at the same time.
Okay, now it's running. What was the local host? Was it 302? 2000?
Mine was 3002 because I had something. Or 3000. It should just open up randomly for you.
Should it?
Should be localhost
Oh,
3000.
there,
3001.
yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
No problem.
I just want to ask you quickly because I'm using my submit button is just this input type submit. That's where I'm getting my button from. Can I just change that to a button? Will it pull everything else in, or does it have to be input type submit?
It could be a button. It could just be a button.
Ajax call
With just add comment inside the button.
So it needs to have the value of it.
Oh, it doesn't have to. You can just put whatever you want inside of it. So when you click that button, it's going to submit that. It's going to submit that form, no matter what.
No matter what.
No matter what, it's
If
going
I
to
have a
submit that
button
form.
here within the form, if I put a button in the form,
It's
it's gonna submit.
when someone clicks a button inside of the form, it's going to submit the form.
Okay, and then I put the Ajax call
On the form
on
submit.
that
On the form submit.
Just on.
Hey, can
button
you
click.
show me the Ajax call?
I haven't had an Ajax call yet, but
Okay.
I'm just saying because here this is put on, this is page like with a for loop, so I'm just curious. I can just turn this into a button. This is my first time like using this with the form and the database. I just want to make sure that if I turn this into a button and then attach an Ajax with this route that it's going to work. I don't have to do this input testing because this is what I found online. I just want to make sure that that button will be tied to this input submit.
Yeah, it will.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Is that funny?
So,
See?
see Thursday?
Yeah.
You're around.
Oh, you should definitely watch us. I think you'll like it. It's very it's very future manning.
Yeah.
Right. It's because like I just going into it, I just thought it's gonna just be this like freaky horror movie that's it, you know. But then I took Aaron, so it was a horror movie, but yes, it's very like that. It's great.
No, I don't want to do it. No.
Dude, fucking, what's it? Get Out.
It was Get Out was good too.
It was in Get Out?
I haven't seen Get Out.
Dude.
It's really good.
Dude. You're like, yeah, this is the Midwest.
That's what. Yeah. Get out.
Is it mean to American people though,
Dude,
or is it just like is it just funny and scary?
No, it's like creepy.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's creepy. It's like,
Oh, dude, there's a new
cornfields
movie.
and shit.
I saw this preview in it. It was amazing. I just wanted to do Get Out real quick, just so I had it. It's called Mama. It's hilarious.
oh, wait,
It-
why does that sound familiar?
Mama trailer, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, dude. It's so scary.
Yeah, wait, that's an old movie.
Is it?
Yeah, dude. I seen it.
No, wait. What's that thing called? Veronica.
No, you're talking about La Llorona.
What was that? What was that movie that? Was it Mama?
Is he talking about?
Ma was Ma. Hold on.
Ma.
Yeah. This looks.
Oh, she's in it.
Dude, she's. It looks. The trailer looks amazing. It's amazing.
Oh. Oh, hell no. Hell no.
It looks like a stupid teen movie, but then it gets better and better and better and better. And I just saw the trailer. I just can't wait to watch this.
Find me some beer.
It's
It's like shoulder tapping. Now, where are you guys gonna drink this stuff? Gonna come over? They got y'all. Do it. They're like, yeah, we're cool.
Is that for real?
I don't know what this is.
Kids are so stupid. It's like,
Yeah. There's a cow.
They're gonna bring back the slasher
There's a
movies.
cow right there.
It's probably the beginning.
So sick.
So
sick. This is sick. Oh, she was like, Polly in my house. Oh, she did shots with us.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
She's like, I need to get me some of that.
robot dance.
Oh, shit. She got the boom bada.
Okay, get out of here.
Okay. All right. Well, you can watch the trailer.
That is so
I'm looking forward to this movie. I'll watch Get Out.
Oh, dude.
I haven't seen Get Out.
Dude, you need to watch that.
So,
Yeah.
What's that to watch? If I missed Get Out, I must have missed out.
You're gonna like Get Out.
Yeah.
What other movies?
That are
Like
that.
that?
Yeah,
Nothing.
Okay. Cool.
Um,
Oh yeah, let's your project.
about that. So, kind of
Okay,
just want
guys.
to figure out later.